Colorblind people. What is one of the most unexpected problems related to color you face often? Standing outside one late October night, watching one of the best displays of the northern lights that I've ever seen. My family is gasping at the shifting display of colors, pink and blue and purple swirled in with the more common green. I look over at our friend, who is much less awe-inspired than us, and I remembered that he's colorblind. I didn't mention it or make a fuss, but it made me quite sad for him. Next story. I had a colorblind science teacher. He brought it up when we got to genetics and recessive genes. The small town had an upside-down traffic light for decades. The teacher knew it was upside down and just remembered top was go, bottom was stop. Then, suddenly, the town flipped it right side up. Luckily, there wasn't an accident. He just had to explain to the officer what happened. You know, that's super fair. Like, how is dude supposed to know? It definitely seems like something that should have been fixed, a little quicker, but hey, knowing a city, it probably wasn't in the budget or whatever. Next story. Colorblind physician. Tests, such as urine pregnancy tests, will often turn red when positive. Electronic medical record software would flag important information in red. Rashes can be tough. I once thought I was being helpful by cleaning up blood on the floor, and apparently I just smeared it around, walked through it, and tracked it around the clinic. I walked into the clinic and my coworker didn't even look up. She just looked at me and said, "Nope, never wear that tie with those pants ever again." Next story. Cooking meat. I basically only cook white meat, turkey and chicken, at home because I have no idea how to tell if lamb/beef is cooked enough. Oh, also taking care of my plant. One of the ways to inspect your plant's health is to see the change in the shade of green of the leaves. Thanks, nature. So I literally have to take pictures every few days and check RGB values using computer software. Alright, Opie, first one, I can help you with this. Meat thermometer. If you're regularly cooking raw meat at any point, you should probably own one of these things. Eyeballing it is fine most of the time, but there are times it's not, and you should just be a little extra sure. The color is a lot less important than the internal temperature, although they are closely related a lot of the time. Next story. My dad was a fighter pilot, so growing up, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I learned everything I could about jets and fighters, had large posters that showed exactly what the inside of an F-16, F-18, and F-22 cockpits looked like. With the help of my dad, I knew every switch, button, and lever at 7 years old. At 11 years old, I could start the planes, take off, land, and mid-air refuel on real F-16 simulators that the USAF uses to train pilots. At 18, I scored 83 and higher on all parts of the ASVAB test. Then came the eye test. Find out I'm colorblind. You can't be a fighter pilot if you're colorblind. I'm not crazy, right? This is the reference I think it is. This isn't just someone's story that I'm dismissing because I think it's a reference. It's gotta be, right? I don't remember the movie well enough. For anyone confused, it's a very famously large part of Little Miss Sunshine. Next story. Girlfriend has gotten her hair dyed the last few times she has gone to the salon. I don't notice it. I also can't tell if there's a dirty spot on the carpet. I also worked in a file room for a financial institution and everything was color-coded. Everyone was surprised when I destroyed production but was going by file numbers and didn't understand how I was doing it. Next story. Some time ago, a friend was on his way to my place for the first time. I explained to him that it was the red house on the right side of the road and some local waypoints, so he could find it. Some time passed and hey, no friend. He then called me saying he couldn't find the house and asked me to go stand by the road so he could see me. After a minute or so, he turned into my parking lot and asked if I was a complete freaking idiot. That was the day I found out I had been living in a brown house for the last 5 years, not a red one. Next story. I've noticed my ability to see color is significantly better when I'm looking directly at whatever the thing is. This can lead to some very odd realizations when you decide to actually look directly at something. There was a garden I walked past every day for like 5 years, and one day I glanced at the house. It was a lively neon pink color. I'd always thought it was like a basic tan, slightly lighter than bricks normally are, and I had to double take. Also, when I see a notification light flash, I have to wait for it to flash again so I can be sure which color it is. Tube maps are a nightmare, telling when fruit is ripe is a nightmare, and noticing people have dyed their hair is problematic. I mean, really, how often do you look at someone and focus on their hair? Next story. Teachers thought I was a special kid because I couldn't place colors to their appropriate places. I also had dysgraphia and dyslexia, but a gifted level IQ. Imagine that. My entire education was screwed until I got out of high school, retook classes through correspondence, and made high 90s. But yeah, color blindness was the start to a terrible education. The color blindness is something that's so natural to me, I only ever realize I'm colorblind when I make an outward mistake. Like one time I told a buddy that I left an orange sweater at his place and he looked for it everywhere. And when I got there I pointed it out, and he said to me it was hot pink. Another time I told my buddies I could be a pilot and see the lights on the ground. They gave me a test. Turns out if I flew a plane, it would be a bad ordeal to land it. Next story. I once wore a pair of bottle green pants for a year thinking they were brown. My girlfriend at the time let me know what color they were, and it went like this. Hey, have you seen my brown pants? What brown pants? The ones I was wearing yesterday. Oh, they're green? Like statement green. I thought you knew. Next story. I have trouble differentiating similar shades next to each other. Add the fact that I have nearly monocular vision and poor depth perception and, well, let's just say me finding my black cell phone on my black comforter and sheets usually amounts to me slapping my hands down on the bed like a gorilla until the phone bounces. This becomes frantic and often unsuccessful if I don't have my glasses on. Next story. I'm not colorblind, but my friend is. When she was in high school, her mom had to deal with a family emergency and went out of town for a few days. She put on the wrong shade of khakis and didn't realize it since nobody was home to tell her. That is until she got in trouble at school and got sent home. My mom had to go pick her up. I've always found that so silly. She didn't have shorts or a tank top on, nothing like that. Basically was wearing the school uniform. She just put on the wrong shade of pants without realizing because she is colorblind and had to miss an entire day of learning over it. Oh yeah, that'll sure teach her, am I right? That's sarcasm, just to be super clear. I'm not saying children should miss school because they put on the wrong color of pants. Next story. Health related. Had a urethral tract infection. Couldn't tell my urine turned more red over the whole day. In the evening, I noticed the color seemed darker, so the next time I had an urge, I peed into a white cup. My girlfriend saw me afterwards holding the cup into the light, looking for something in it, and came closer. I asked her what color it was. She said red, maybe orange. Then she asked what it was, and couldn't close her eyes for a few seconds after I told her. Next story. You can't describe anything by its color. It has to be defined some other way. Let's say you're in a car with another person and you're parked at some lights. Over by the side of the road are 3 parked cars. A bird, for example, crapped on one of them and you thought it was funny, so you mention it to your friend. You get asked, which car? Looking at the cars, you might see a brown car, an orange car, and a green car. If you say the green one over there, you might soon find out that none of the cars are green. Could be 2 browns and an orange, or 2 weird shades of yellow, or they could all be different shades of yellow. Who knows? So you have to say something like the one in the middle, or the second one, or the one closest to that pole, or something else. It's frustrating to have to think like that. What's that album so-and-so released with the orange cover? Yeah, look for my friend Jake, he's wearing a purple hoodie. If someone asks you to get their lunch from the fridge while you've got the door open and they say, it's in the blue lunchbox, you have to ask them to clarify in some way which one is theirs. Do you like my green top or my blue top better? Well, which one is it? Is it the one with tassels, or baubles, or long sleeves, or the picture on the front, or the one with square buttons? What is it? Next story. My dad is colorblind and he is amazing at art. It always used to blow my mind when he used color. I'd say, Dad, how do you know what color that is? He would say he can read the color name. He's just so amazing with art, it's insane. He knows what, say, green is because he knows how it looks when it's green, blue, red, whatever color. I used to think he was magic because he was colorblind, but he would always read traffic lights right. Red for stop, green for go, yellow for caution. I thought for sure he was tricking me about being colorblind. Then he finally told me his secret. Red is always at the top, yellow in the middle, green at the bottom. It was that simple, and I thought he was magic. His wife bought him some of those glasses to help colorblind people see colors. He was overjoyed. He cried. He was 45 when he got them. He was so amazed at the colors he would go on color hunting trips. I took him to a greenhouse so he could see all the different colors of flowers. My sister and brother took him on a leaf spotting trip so he could see the beautiful fall colors. My stepmom took him to Florida on a fish finding trip to see the color of the water and all the beautiful colors surrounding the ocean. He watched so many sunsets with us and just happy tears came out because he could make out the colors and see how beautiful it was. It really made me see color in a new light. I never stopped and thought about it much because it's so normal to me. It made him so happy to finally see his artwork he's done through the years. How truly amazing his art really is to his new eyes. He doesn't wear the glasses all the time because it'll give him a headache after so long. Also, he got bad motion sickness the first time he drove with them. He doesn't wear them when driving anymore. He only wears them as a passenger if we're going slow. So definitely not interstate speed. He's amazing, and I love him so much. Next story. There's something that no one thinks about. You have to accept and live with the fact that at least one of your 5 senses is fundamentally wrong or flawed. And sometimes that can be a very lonely feeling. Let me try to explain through a somewhat weird example. Imagine someone is showing you a picture and asking what you see. It's a dog, so you say, "It's a dog." Correct. They put away the picture and show you another one. It's the exact same dog, so you tell them, "It's a dog" again. Wrong. This is an elephant. At first, you think, this guy's crazy. You know what a freaking elephant looks like, and that ain't no elephant. But everyone you show the pictures to will tell you, that's a dog, that's an elephant, without a second thought. In the end, you need to accept that you are the crazy one. You'll adapt. It's not a difficult disability to live with, but it's a harsh truth to accept that one of your own senses can't be trusted entirely. I must be way too tired for this. I was so confused at the first part. I'm like, what do you mean? Colorblind doesn't make you unable to differentiate a dog and an elephant. It's an analogy. Yeah, I think I heard about these in English class. Next story. I enlisted in the military and you're disqualified from most jobs if you're colorblind. Ironically enough, I had the job that required you to wear red patches. Or at least they told us the patches were red. Also, growing up with my favorite color being blue, I always got frustrated when it turned out I picked out the purple toothbrush by mistake. Next story. A lot of bathroom doors only indicate their status by a small window of green or red. This is an affront to my humanity. I'm also a kindergarten teacher. We use a workbook that often asks students to color different things different colors. That is a nightmare for me to grade. Next story. Meeting people and thinking they have gray/white hair when it's really just blonde definitely messes with my sense of people's ages, especially when masks and/or glasses are added. I honestly thought my boyfriend had gray hair for the longest time despite his age, but as his hair was turning brown, he told me, and I felt so dumb. Next story. I'm an electrician and I'm blue-green colorblind, depending on the shade. It hasn't messed with me too much until recently. I crossed a couple of wires and some light fixtures and fried them. The switches we used were low voltage/smart switches. Those got fried too. It took me a really long time to troubleshoot them and I was pretty mad at myself. The boss told me not to worry about it. I usually get by because green is always the ground, and if I really need to I can trace that to another location and see if it's used as a ground. But green wires can have a zillion different shades, depending on who made them. Also depending on when they were made, whatever. But usually a pretty dark green will look blue to me. Next story. Video games sometimes. Most have colorblind assist now though. Shopping. I thought I was buying forced green accent stuff for my house and it turns out I was buying a weird mix of brown and a few shades of green. My fiancée just laughed. Nothing matched. She now does the decorating in our house. Wiring. I'm handy and I used to be a car mechanic, but trying to sort out wiring is god-awful. Clothing. I'm pretty sure I've gone out in some funky outfits before. Next story. Oh, I have a winner, although it isn't often. So I'm an elementary school teacher. Was doing an activity with my class where we were highlighting bits of an essay. Okay, so this part is blue, this part is green, this part is pink.
Hold on, Mr. C,
says one kid.
That isn't pink, that's purple.
I frown and say, really?
Yup.
Well, listen guys, I am colorblind, I explain. They don't believe me, so I take 3 minutes to do a quick discussion about it, rods and cones and whatnot. Then I ask them if they have seen those circles with the colored dots that form letters or numbers. You know, colorblind tests. Some say no, so I go ahead and Google colorblind tests and pull up a bunch on my smartboard because why not? They're interested, so let's discuss it. We start to look through them and I can't see a damn thing in any of them. The kids just don't believe me, but they're enjoying quizzing me and we scroll through. Suddenly, there is a palpable change in the class as every set of eyes goes wide and mouths drop open. So I'm sitting here looking at the kids and I notice the change. So I look behind me wondering if maybe a pop-up or ad or something that shouldn't be up there is up there. No, nothing but colorblind tests. I look back at my kids and a bunch of them are now stifling giggles. One boy has pulled his sweatshirt over his face because he can't control himself. One girl is the color of a tomato. What the hell is going on? I turn back to the smartboard. Nothing. Unless... Guys, is there something on the screen up here that I can't see but that shouldn't be there? The entire class starts nodding enthusiastically, several kids now giggling uncontrollably. Andrew, I say to a kid in the front row, should I close this tab? He nods, his face beet red trying not to laugh. I quickly close the tab, horrified, as the entire class bursts out laughing, except my one cute, sweet, innocent girl, Margaret. She says,
"What's everyone laughing at? It was just a finger."
No, the class informs her, it wasn't a finger. So yeah, I'm the teacher who showed his class a big old dong and didn't even know it. I went to tell my principal, who, in between outbursts of laughter, told me that any parent who called would be directed right to me. So yeah, the only time in history a teacher did something completely inappropriate with a class and had no physical way to know they did it. TLDR, I showed my elementary school class a colorful dong that I couldn't see. I would have loved to be in the class at that moment. Oh my God. This is a moment that will stick with those kids for their lives. And hey, you really showed what color blindness can do. Those kids will never forget it. Guaranteed. Next story. I work in loss prevention and former reserve deputy. If I'm trying to relay the color of a car to dispatch, I have to guess, then tell them that I'm guessing. Me. Honda Accord, license plate Echo Foxtrot Charlie 271. Possible green or blue in color. I'm colorblind. Dispatch. Be advised, RP reports Honda Civic, license plate EFC271, dark in color, registration says blue. Police pull over the car, and it has been painted gunmetal gray. Officer to me, in what world is this car green or blue? Do you need to go back to school and learn your colors? And I just say I reported to 911 that I was colorblind. Read the call log. Next story. I don't know if this has been said, but 3 things I struggle the most with as a colorblind person are matching socks that don't have patterns on them and are just a solid dark color like black and navy or brown, or gray and khaki. The freaking traffic lights under the sunlight, and depending on the hour, I just can't tell which color it is. So I learned the order pretty young. And the fact that I dreamt of becoming a pilot, but got rejected because of me being colorblind, crushed that dream pretty fast at around 9 years old when I asked a neighbor who was actually a pilot. I guess we really do improvise, adapt, and overcome. You know, it's interesting. I never really considered this, even though my dad is colorblind. He's never really talked about it much. The biggest thing that would happen for him was he would get a color wrong and my mom would laugh at him. Healthy relationship. Anyway, something interesting for me is that I notice, especially when I wake up in the morning, but all throughout the day, if I close one eye and then close the other, all the colors look slightly different to me. Like, not super different, but noticeably different. I don't know. Do any of you have that too? Some rods and cones are all screwed up in one of my eyes. I don't know which is the right one. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.